Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Shrimadbhagavatam ki, their most merciful Lordship Shri Radhakunja Bihari ki, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Mai Subhadra ki, Shri Nataji Shri Balagopal ki, Shri Bhanitai ki, Nitai Go Prem. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. All glories to the Lord's feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. That was the last verse, right? Yeah. Yesterday was the last verse, so we're starting a new chapter today, chapter 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam
Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraya Nastapraishu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 1. The chapter is entitled The Son of Drona Punished. Sanaka Uvacha Nirgate Narade Sutta Nirgate Narade Sutta Bhagavan Badrayana Bhagavan Badrayana Shutavam Tad Abhipretam Shutavam Tad Abhipretam Tata Kim Akaro Vibhu Tata Kim Akaro Vibhu Sanakuvacha Nirgate Narade Sutta Bhagavan Badrayana Shrutavam Sthavi Pretam Tata Kim Akaro Vibhu Sanakuvacha Nirgate Narade Sutta Nirgate Narade Sutta Bhagavan Badrayana Bhagavan Badrayana Shrutavam Sthavi Pretam Shrutavam Sthavi Pretam Tata Kim Akaro Vibhu Tata Kim Akaro Vibhu. Please chant. Sanakuvacha
Nirgate Narade Sutta
Nirgate Narade Sutta Bhagavan Narayana
Shrutavam Stadabhi Pretam
Shrutavam Stadabhi Pretam
Tataha Kima Karod Vibhu.
Tata Kim Akaro Vibhu. Sanaka Sri Sanaka Uvacha said, Nirgate having gone, Narade Narad Muni, Sutta O Sutta, Bhagavan the transcendently powerful, Badarayana Vedavyas Shrutavam who heard Tat his Abhipretam desire of the mind Tata thereafter Kim what Akaro did he do Vibhu the great Sanakuvacha Nirgate Narade Sutta Bhagavan Badrayana Shrutavam Starabi Pretam Tata Kim Akaro Vibhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Rishi Sanaka asked, O Sutta, the great and transcendently powerful Vyasadeva heard everything from Sri Narad Muni. So, after Narad's departure, what did Vedavyas do? Please repeat. Rishi Sanaka asked,
Rishi Sanaka asked,
O Sutta,
O Sutta,
the great and transcendently powerful
the great and transcendently powerful
Vyasadeva
Vyasadeva
heard everything
heard everything
from Sri Narad Muni.
from Sri Narada Muni.
So after Narad's departure,
So after Narada's departure,
what did Vyasadeva do?
What
what
did
did
Vyasa
Vyasadeva do?
Sri Sanaka asked, O Sutta, the great and transcendently powerful Vyasadeva heard everything from Sri Narad Muni. So after Narad's departure, what did Vyasadeva do? Purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In this chapter, the clue for describing Shrimadbhagavatam is picked up as Maharaj Parikshit is miraculously saved in the womb of his mother. This was caused by drowning Ashwatthama, Acharya Drona's son, who killed the 5 sons of Draupadi while they were asleep, for which he was punished by Arjuna. Before commencing the great epic Shrimadbhagavatam, Sri Vyasadeva realized the whole truth by trance in devotion. Om Jnana Timirandasya Kiranjana Shalakaya Chakshusumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. If I'm not mistaken, it was in Mahabharata that I had read about Ashwatthama being cursed because of this heinous crime. He killed all the Pandava children. But as we see here, he's going to be punished for doing that. And part of the curse was he would wander the earth. He's a long-living soul. But as I've said in a previous class, that wherever he stays, nothing is able to grow. And since he's still in our culture considered to be quite tall, I think he's maybe 8 or 9 feet tall. In the culture that he was born into, he would have been quite short. And his stature, I don't know that it did, but it could very well have had something to do with his consciousness as well. But see, even though these two groups of the same family were fighting against each other, there were certain laws set that both were following to the degree that they were supposed to up until a certain point. And see, this appearance and disappearance of Krishna is the determining factor of Kali Yuga beginning. And when Krishna left, Yudhisthira, because of the purity of his heart, was allowed to see. I don't know if anyone else on the planet even saw these things going on. Before he even knew Krishna had left the planet, he saw all these omens, fire coming out of the sky, the kind of howling that was taking place by, normally, wolves and coyotes and all these animals, they have a particular howl. But what Yudhisthira was hearing was being given as an omen of the fact that Krishna was leaving the planet, allowed Yudhisthira to hear these barking of these dogs as extremely out of the ordinary. And so nature itself was affected at Krishna's leaving the planet. And then see, they're about this time. So we're talking about 5,000 years ago. This is approximately the same time other histories of the world are revealing that extreme circumstances changing. Things were being put into place. And this is about the same time that the flood was occurring, according to the Bible. And according to the Bible, the flood was being brought about by man's inhumane activities towards other human beings. Now, Krishna just got through purifying the earth by killing off all these armies. Of course, see, the flood came even before that. Because Krishna was very young when Indra brought this flood that he held up, right? Shrimadbhagavatam is in that form as a child. And so, by his activities as well, the earth is affected by Krishna's activities. So, this is why nations of the world, recognizing people they consider to be superior to all other human beings, they designate them as a marker in history in which a new era begins. This is why we call this the year 2025, because according to their historical calculations, the person they're calling Jesus Christ was brought into this world 2025 years ago. But he is not the avatar for this age. But he will become the emperor. From what I have observed and what it seems to be the fulfillment of prophecies, he may very well be the one that is appointed to be the next emperor of the world. And before this happens, though, also, Bhagavatam, I'm still looking forward to make reference to the chapter and verses on what canto it comes from. But Bhagavatam also explains that there are very drastic circumstances that are going to hit the earth. And see, we're only 5,000 years away from Krishna having come. He says he comes to deliver the believers, to protect the believers, and to destroy the miscreants. So 22 times Jarasandha brought these armies, millions and millions and millions of soldiers, 22 times, to Krishna for him to kill them all off, as a means of purifying the planet of those tyrannical forces. Jai Shri Rajendra, Jai Dita, Jai Baladeva, Jai Jai. Those tyrannical forces that these men were ruling with over their subjects, Krishna came to relieve the Brahminical class of people from having to suffer the effects of. And so this battle at Kurukshetra was one such war, but because of the advancement of Arjuna spiritually, it was brought out as, it would seem, the most significant battle, because the conversation Krishna had with Arjuna is what establishes the foundation of Krishna's Dharma for the age, and the consciousness that followers of Krishna will take as knowing what Krishna wants. So Krishna reveals what pure religion is. He reveals what a society should be functioning like, how the leaders, boy, that was a slip of the Freudian, how the cheaters, I said, instead of the leaders. Freudian slip, if I ever heard. Because now we do have many cheaters who are using positions of leaders.
The thieves.
Yeah, And see, this is the same replication in smaller form of what Krishna came to do away with. But now, as devotees, we are fighting those same forces with what Krishna has now empowered with his energy by the holy names. Now, when Krishna was on the planet, it was the power and the disciplic chain that had been passed down for them to learn the mantras that commanded atomic explosions that could be directed at one individual person. And they had counter mantras to counterattack and send above and beyond that another one in return. So Krishna at that time was empowering these mantras, holding what at that time would appear to be the most powerful mantras available, the Brahmastra, I believe, being the one most powerful. But now our weapons in this age, because see, as Prabhu Krishna is seen, I should call you Krishna Das, but Krishna Das, when you get initiated, might be Krishna Das, I don't know. Bhakta Krishna. I suppose we should call him Bhakta Krishna. What he is seeing by going out and distributing books, you're on the front lines of Maya. You're coming in contact, in some cases, with some of the most evil people in the society. But Krishna is putting you there because that's where he wants you to be correcting people whose minds are deterred from doing what is right. So we are on the battlefield in that. And every person you come in contact with that you can give a book to, somehow get a book into their hands by the exchange they will give you money with, will be to their advantage eternally. And they do not know it. And it is a battle. It's a difficult battle. You battle the mind. Your own mind is telling you so many other things you could be doing or you think might be better for you to do to experience pleasure, whatever. But then at the same time, when you start concentrating on what you're doing, you're praying to Krishna to give you the ability to present this philosophy the way he wants it presented, and to present to them a way that they can be assured that they're giving you money for the right cause. And so as we apply Krishna consciousness to our lives, it confirms within us, within our consciousness, within our makeup of wanting to do what's right, that this is actually going to give to people what it's saying it will give. That liberty from the bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease. We may not sense, because it comes gradual, taking prasadam every day, because until we come to the point where we know we need to take prasadam, we've built up this karmic reaction in our eating habits that will take a while to work out as far as our physical makeup is concerned. But our consciousness now, because we're taking prasadam, because we're taking part in Krishna conscious activities, can be constant. And because it's constant, and because it's wearing away old effects of habits, then it will gain potency as the soul continues in the spiritual energy of Krishna's bhakti. And so there will come a point in which exponentially this experience of transcendent consciousness, the mind, now begins to experience with a fearlessness that comes with it. Because all the promises Krishna is making, when you come to apply the principles and you say, wow, chanting does really help control the mind. Chanting does really give us potency, to do these activities. And it is a prayer that keeps our minds focused in such a way that we're breaking the false ego. I can't think of anything more difficult to overcome than the false ego that the mind has become a slave to, believing that the one to serve is I, me, and mine. We're born with this idea that our parents inbred into us from birth, rewarding us sometimes for doing wrong. The child yells and screams, and to quiet the child, the parent will give the child something sweet or something that the child likes, and the child develops the idea, oh, I can get my way.
Okay.
All they have to do is scream a little bit, you know. This is a psychology. And see, this manipulation of the material energy is how animals also get their food. And it's also how we have ourselves been taught that if we want to survive, we have to manipulate the material energy. But what we've never been taught is how to manipulate the material energy in such a way to get eternal benefit. And that's the only thing lacking in society. As Srila Prabhupada said, all they need to do is add Krishna to what they're doing. So, how to do that? That's what I want to put down in a little flyer that we give to people, because, you know, people may come here and then have to go back to a job and find it very difficult to spend 2 entire hours out of a day just chanting with the speaker, then picking up a book and reading for another hour and another different book reading. So people don't find that. But there are little acts of kindness towards Krishna that people can take part in that they don't know can be of, as well, eternal benefit. Buying a little bit of a few flowers, buying a bag of fruit, buying a container of paper plates, buying some cups, so many things. And then when they come, they can do pots, clean the floor, so many things are available. And what I want to do is put all these things listed, because, you know, beyond that, when a devotee is so secured in his faith, wants to cover as many people, we could take up a mailing adventure to send out as many letters as possible to as many people as possible, with just such a friendly letter that when people open it, they say, well, I'd like to meet the person who wrote this, you know, and invite them into the principles of Krishna consciousness, reincarnation, vegetarianism. Just list a few of the benefits of all these principles that will free them from the connections they have now, thinking that these are the ways they're going to have pleasure in this world, finding out that it has been the reason they're having suffering. If people don't know where suffering is coming from, then they generally don't have the means to be able to stop it. This is what the problem with modern medicine is. They don't care about what caused it. And they'll tell you that. All they do is care about is relieving the symptoms of what caused the disease. But relieving the symptoms sometimes backfires and has reactions itself. And this is society's viewpoint on the ails of society itself. The tendencies towards homicide, suicide, patricide, matricide, sistercide, brothercide. All these people wanting to kill and end other living entities' life is manifesting in a small way at every meal they take to those who are thinking themselves innocent. At every meal, people think, well, I have to eat to live, right? God certainly can allow me to eat to live. But God has incorporated into the system of nature a means for those who take the life of another to be able to repay that life after their life is over, which is what is called reincarnation. which is why we need to know this. Why? Because then that's the only way we're going to know that we need to get out of it. If you don't know you're bound by this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease by the laws of nature, then you don't know you need to be free from it. What to speak of knowing there is a way to become free. And it is consciousness that is the difference, that is created by the activities of the soul that is in that eternal energy, and the consciousness of the soul that is in that material energy, bound by, controlled by, a slave to, that the most part living entities are believing they're enjoying with. The material energy is not ours to enjoy. It's set here to keep the cycle going and to keep the people who are happy with it in it. So, from one sense, success being looked at by the overall majority of people in this world is the expert use of the material inferior energy, by the way. The expert use of that, which keeps them bound to it. And so they are looked at by society as the heroes of society. And this goes very much into Hollywood, but it also now is taking part in practically every profession that people are engaged in for the aggrandizement of themselves. This is all the false ego knows to do without an advanced soul who has been liberated from the bonds of the false ego. And this is what we have advantage of, to take advantage of in the disciplic chain and the knowledge contained therein. Certainly it would seem reasonable that there should be some aims humanity has in common with each other to be able to attain to. But the way society is set up, all the aims are of an individual nature that in the end result requires much cooperation of other human beings. But if all human beings are aiming at an eternal result, it will produce a different end than what they are aiming towards satisfying themselves. So even if a person works, let's say they work at a hospital, let's say they work for a hospice, by taking care of elderly people, and people can't take care of themselves. Maybe they're working in a profession that takes care of the handicapped, something like that. Still, as much as they love their job and caring for other people, the ultimate result of that job is so that they can have food on their table, which probably in the majority of cases means they are going to be killing and taking the lives of other living beings for that. So how can they avoid that? Can they become a vegetarian and avoid that? No. Can they become a vegan and avoid it? No. What about a breatharian? See, breatharians still walk. They still breathe. No, they don't. Yeah, they breathe. That's what they breathe. They depend on breathing. Any of our involvement in anything in this material world, so let's analyze that. The breathing process itself. The other day I was speaking about what happens. Everything that's dying in the garden, in the dirt, in the ground, in the trees, in the air, everything that's dying means that the living force that was indwelling that form has left. how many millions of living forces are leaving at every moment? Every worm, every cockroach it leaves, every ant, every bird, every bug, everything you can think of that has existence within the environment that those creatures live in. How many of them are leaving at every moment? So there's souls that leave those bodies. The soul leaving the human body is described in Bhagavatam. How it gets in as well, that we could find as well in Bhagavatam. If there's an opening, see, the most advanced souls are able to leave through the topmost point in the body, the Brahmarashram, I believe it's called. And in a sense then, the body being looked at as a universe. And this goes along with the statement in the Quran that every man is a universe. This has several implications because every man is carrying enough seeds to populate a universe with billions and billions of seeds inside that he's carrying. So then when men lose these seeds also, those seeds having living force within them, gone into the atmosphere. So even breathing process, we are breathing in, could be looked at as souls, and breathing in that which has already been breathed by other living beings as well. So we can't help but interact. If we're going to interact with the actions of this material world, we're going to be interacting with all the other forms of life that are also interacting with it. We're all drinking from the same trough, so to speak, right? Like animals drinking from the same well. Whatever slobber one is putting in there, the other ones are getting as well. So whatever involvement we have with the material energy, we are affecting the other living entities that are also involved in that material energy, all created with the means of keeping them all connected to each other. Now, in a sense, you could say that's the way love is, right? And it is. And see, that's the way the movement is. We all aim at the end goal being giving knowledge of love of God as the aim we have in all of our activities. We're aiming to please Krishna. That aim to please Krishna is love. And the means we have of finding out that that's something to dedicate ourselves to is also Krishna's love extending to us through these literatures, and then what to speak through the devotee that's going to be out there giving those literatures out to the general public. That's where love is. It's on the front lines. Now, when I say front lines, immediately people hearing this are going to be thinking we're involved in a war, and we are. But it's not a war against flesh and blood, just as the Bible brings out. It's a war against powers and principalities in high places. Highest place in the experience of the human being is consciousness. Consciousness should be in the highest place. But instead, in that place that the highest should be, he is putting desires that he has developed for his own purpose, his own end. And that's all manifestation of the false ego that is all connected to the outer coding of the universe, that all the power of which controls all the living entities contained within it, like an eggshell. Until we break out of that eggshell, we're going to be in a dormant state. So the soul, bringing realization with it of the eternal, then, in effect, is dwelling in the eternal. Because that's our experiences of our consciousness, right? Our consciousness connected to the physical body as much as we attach our senses, our mind to it. And this is what chanting constantly keeps us from doing. It's breaking that mental habit of thinking I, me, and mine, and what my body wants, what I want, what my tongue wants, what my ears want, what my eyes want, and just constantly realizing what we are in how we, as the energy of Krishna, that marginal potency, can be constantly engaged in that superior eternal energy. And then so long as we just keep developing that attitude towards that, which is like this, the 7th verse of Gayatri Mantra, Krishna, shoot me with that arrow of love as Cupid. As you played Cupid to all those who want lovers, shoot my heart with that arrow of Cupid of yours that will make me love everything about you, everything about every word that has been spoken in truth, about the glory of your magnificence, of your presence, that I will know and love everything that you are revealing to bring all the souls in this material universe back home so they can know this love of yours also. We want everybody to know the love that we know. So if we're finding love in Krishna, then we can't help but want to give it. That's the nature of love. And as well, as I've said several times, it is that the more you give of it, the more you receive of it. Okay, that's another law. So all these laws that normally function for the unliberated soul, I'll say, the soul that is trying to find pleasure in this material world, all those functions then being used rather pointed towards Krishna is going to give the soul beyond, above and beyond their own expectations. There's a quote in the Bible as well I love to refer to. Neither the eyes of man nor the ears have seen nor heard what God has in store for those that love him. I love to think about that. We can't even imagine. See, and these scriptures bring out to us, when we read about the nature of the relationship Krishna has with those that are dear to him, like Narad Muni, giving him an instrument made of an eternal substance. And these acts that Krishna has with his devotees become common thought in our minds when we read about all these pastimes of Krishna with all of his friends, all of his beloved family members, all based on love and different levels of love, and every exchange revealing a different level. That soul is having a relationship with Krishna in a form of love. And then Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu helps us to see from that perspective what they are having. And then we can get to an elevated state eventually where we can actually taste as well. But the spiritual senses can only be experienced if they are aimed at to be used, which automatically comes by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. See, because that concentrated effort to remain in that mood, Krishna, please let me serve your spiritual energy, is itself an act that can be looked at as that can be thought of eternally. You can keep this mood. In fact, it is a necessary ingredient of bhakti to keep this mood. Okay. And by keeping that mood then, we're keeping in mind, which we are then in control of. If we use the mind to develop those thoughts and desires pertinent to the furtherance of Krishna consciousness, that Krishna will fill our minds with will become greater than we could otherwise put there ourselves, because it is his purpose we're hoping to fulfill, and he is the greatest person there is. So we're engaging in his purpose, and he has the ability to give us ability. He is ability, he says. He is the ability. So then all we have to do is desire to do what he wants. And just that desire we can keep forever and ever and ever and ever. Because it is by doing what he wants that the greatest is experienced by those who have done that. I can't see any greater relationship to be developed than that which Krishna is revealing through Narad Muni, through Srila Prabhupada, through Bhaktivinoda, through all of these perfected souls in Krishna consciousness that reveal through their lives and through their writings of their experiences in this realm called the material universe, of how powerful Krishna's association that they've experienced with the chanting of Krishna's holy names. Yeah, we have so much to be thankful for in all these teachings, that we do have time, even that we have 15, 20 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, whatever we can develop. And it is my belief that as we do pursue towards Krishna to give us the time that he is, that time you are pursuing to be able to be revealed the knowledge of Krishna through these books, that is also in an endeavor of Krishna's bhakti. So you can pursue that desire to know Krishna eternally. Because knowing Krishna is not a one-moment thing. Even on the battlefield. You see, the whole Bhagavad Gita as a relationship revealed by Krishna to Arjuna as a development, as he reveals more and more and more confidential, as he calls it, right? Information. You're seeing the relationship Krishna gives to the soul that surrenders to him in the same way with us. We're not different to Krishna than once we surrendered to that same energy he's asking Arjuna to surrender in when they're on the battlefield. Now, this is our battlefield, fighting against the illusions that this material world is creating by all the persons who are in it. They're the ones creating the illusions. And so we're the ones who have to lift off the illusion, take the blinders off of their minds, like a doctor performing surgery. Krishna's giving you the perfect wording to touch their heart and give them the very thing they need to know eternity, to know love, to know the nature of love, the power of love, the force that love could be in this world if everybody was surrendering. You can't stop the force of love, but there's a lot of hindrances that people are making, which is demonic. This is the very description of what demonic means. Fighting against the forces of love. That's demonic. And the forces of love are all what is beneficial for the human race. And beneficial doesn't necessarily mean kept from death, though. Some people have to leave this particular form because they have fulfilled the requirements necessary this time around, and now there's something either better or worse. The reality, the truth, and the unsweetened truth of death is that it may be for good or for the bad, from the perspectives we put on good and bad. But from Krishna's perspective, all of this is for the correction of the soul and the elevation of the soul and the purification of the soul and the empowerment of the soul, the enlivenment the soul can experience and the taste the soul will come to know that what eternity is. Once we taste eternity and we know it's what we're made of, you don't have to go anywhere else. I mean, in one sense, it might seem unproductive to become self-realized and to know that everything that the soul really needs to become perfected can be experienced in sitting in one place and hearing the sound of Krishna's name and creating it. Yeah. It can be experienced at any moment, any time, by any soul that makes the endeavor. And we are those souls. So there's nothing stopping us from becoming perfect. Just our minds, just our desires, and breaking the false ego. And the easiest way to break it is to go out there and face the multitude that will put a challenge in front of your own false ego at every moment. They'll accuse you of things, and all these things that stick on you is because it's making you realize you got those things in your heart. Everything that bounces off, it's because it's not really you anyways. And that's how the saying is from one of the Vedas. This is from Mahabharata. If someone is accusing you wrongly, and you are innocent of everything they're accusing you, just hold your mouth. Don't say a word. Because every good deed, the person who is accusing you of, every good deed they have ever done, you are going to get the credit for by simply holding your peace. And so, with that realization, what happens to the soul? Yeah, just keep pouring it on, just keep talking, just keep saying, see. What would normally aggravate us, right, is a person's constant nagging, oh, you're this, you're that thing, the other thing. It would normally aggravate us if we are predominantly controlled by the modes of energy and didn't have the wisdom about this fact that as long as you remain silent, this is confidential information given by the Vedas in order for the soul who is experiencing what might be called prejudice, what might be called so many things, bigoted feelings being thrown at. And this is a key to gaining every good, valuable activity that person has used in their life. And the older they are, because the more they should have learned better by then. So the more accumulative it is for them to lose when they reach an older age, to lose the punya, it is called, punya. Punya is what activities you engage in using the material energy for good, for the modes of goodness, helping somebody who can't walk across the street, as long as they're not criminals and trying to kill somebody, but normally in a position that a person is in a wheelchair or something of that nature. This is punya. What is normally considered by most people as religious activity, right? But this is what a devotee accumulates with the use of Gayatri, also accumulates punya. Chanting also accumulates punya, which the demigods can rob you of, because they have confidential information too. So when we disregard our beads, take them out of the bead bag for an extended period of time, they can grab your punya from that as well. Gorgovinda Maharaj pointed that out in his classes several times. I have run over the time, but I started 10 minutes late, so we'll just follow class. Any comments? I gotta go again. Thanks. Catch up on. Any comments? Any questions? Any realizations? Has every question been answered?
We're going to Harinam tomorrow.
Wow, Friday.
So we need to take a couple of paperback Bhagavad Gita's with us. I keep on seeing Jagannath, not that Jagannath, but the Jagannath that's in, the other, the
Lost?
manifestation of Jagannath from
Yeah.
Puri. I keep on seeing them over here.
Oh, from Puri?
Yeah, that Jagannath. You know how that Jagannath looks a little different from this
Yeah.
Jagannath? I keep on seeing that out the corner of my eye here.
Oh, Krishna reveals himself that way. When I first came and I was in that hallway the first day I came, and I was looking through those doors, and I saw them both having 4 arms.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about that. And I asked Bhagavad Gita about it. He said, you talk like that and people will think you're crazy.
When I first came here in the 80s, I saw Srila Prabhupada sitting up real high.
Wow.
When I came back, I didn't see that again.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
see,
thought it was
Krishna
that,
reveals.
but it wasn't that.
Krishna reveals himself in that way. He gives you visions so that your mind is able to accept the place these people are actually in, or that they should actually be in our minds, I didn't know such a thing as a 4-armed form existed. But then we see Krishna takes 4 arms for various purposes in various places. And he also considers his one 2-armed form to be his favorite. That which he tells Arjuna to remember on the battlefield, playing his flute. Yeah. Any other comments, questions, realization? Is everything going well?
Yeah.
Job. Shrimadbhagavatam, Ijat, Srila Prabhupada, Ijat.